Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh, Chief of Air Staff, Shri Rajesh Kumar Singh, Defense Secretary, Air Vice Marshal Golani, dignitaries in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. I'm indeed very happy to be here, and I would like to acknowledge the organizers for arranging this seminar on a very appropriate theme. I will not get into the distinction between Atmanirbharta and Swavalamban, but let me just say that Atmanirbharta or true Atmanirbharta will come only when we have system design capability, system integration capability, capability to make or design and develop our own subsystems, sensors, weapons, capability to have testing, or capability to test whatever platforms that we make, manufacturing capability, and last but not the least, the materials making capability. In addition, we need to invest in R&D because the technological changes that are happening today are so rapid that you can't rest on your laurels once you design a system. You also have to have an innovation ecosystem which can support quick innovation which can be introduced in your systems. So unless we build this complete ecosystem, Atmanirbharta will remain only a dream. I agree with Mr. Bhatia that we need a whole of nation approach if we have to achieve Atmanirbharta. We need participation from academia. We need participation from industry, both private and PSUs. And of course, we need DRDO, ADA, and other organizations working in the aerospace sector to contribute to drive this Atmanirbharta going ahead. And of course, the user participation in the entire process is equally important. Today, as somebody, I think Mr. Bhatia or Mr. Golani or Air Vice Marshal Golani mentioned, we invest only 5% of our defense budget on R&D. This has to increase to 10 to 15% if we have to achieve all our goals. I think the government is sanguine about this, and hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, we will transition from 5% of the defense budget on R&D to about 15% of our defense budget being used for R&D. If you look at what we need to do in terms of technologies, the first priority, of course, is aero engines. Today, we have demonstrated a 4th generation aero engine for our fighter aircrafts. But going ahead, we would need a 6th generation aero engine where the thrust to weight ratios exceed 10. For that, we have to develop several technologies such as single crystal blades with electron beam PVD thermal barrier coatings, powder metallurgy discs, ceramic matrix composites for the static parts to begin with. And if we have to do this and deliver an aero engine, the only way I can see is if we do a co-development with a foreign OEM. But one has to realize that if we want this capability, the country will have to invest close to $4 to $5 billion. That's 40 to 50,000 crores. Because we should not repeat the mistakes that we have made in the past. If we want to develop an aero engine, we have to set up testing capabilities for each subsystem. We have to set up a high altitude test facility. We have to set up a flying test bed. We have to set up manufacturing capabilities to make a disc which would need investing in a forge press, which can press 50,000 tons. So it's a commitment which the country has to make if we have to become Atmanirbhar in this critical technology of aero engines. When it comes to platforms, we have reached a certain level of maturity in our fighter aircrafts, but we need to build capacity. Today, we are not able to deliver 16 aircrafts per year. For that, we have to increase our capacity. And whether it should be in a public sector or whether it should be in a private sector or joint is a decision which we all have to arrive at. Whether a country can afford two players in the fighters. Only US, if you see, has two players. And maybe Russia also has two players. But overall, in other countries, you have only one major player because the volumes are not sufficient. So we have to take a call and support whatever decision we arrive at after due deliberations. But the way warfare is evolving, we have to invest heavily in unmanned platforms and manned-unmanned teaming. We have to look at development of MALE UAVs, HALE UAVs. We have to look at stratospheric airships or HAPS. If you want persistent surveillance in the battlefield, we will have to look at these platforms. We will have to look at AEWNCs and AWACS. We have a huge shortfall today, and unless we invest in these technologies, true Atmanirbharta will not come. Another area, since this theme of this workshop is aerospace, missile technology I consider as part of aerospace. Especially in air-to-air missiles, we need to develop much longer ranges, for which we will need to invest in solid fuel ducted ramjet technology. For cruise missiles such as BrahMos, which can also be air-launched, we have to invest in the liquid ramjet technology. And in general, to avoid air defenses from shooting down your missiles, you have to look at hypersonic technology, which would need investment in ultra-high temperature materials, which would need investment in scramjet technology. So what I can say today is we will have to prioritize because our resources are limited, our manpower is limited. So I think this seminar is an excellent place where we can all sit together and debate what is our priority number one, priority number two, and then work in a mission mode to deliver the capabilities which the Air Force needs. And some of them, as was mentioned earlier, the Air Force needs today. So we have to look at mechanisms to meet the Air Force requirements for today while investing in Atmanirbharta over a longer period. So my best wishes to people who are gathered here for very successful deliberations in this seminar. And I'm sure we will come up with a roadmap on how we can achieve Atmanirbharta. Thank you very much for your patient attention.